Welcome again, everybody, and thank you for joining our global webinar day on the benefits of implementing Next-Hop performance. My name is Dietmar Kneidl. I'm the Director of Sales Europe with Infosim, and I will be your moderator for today's event. Our presenter is my colleague Dave Poulton, COO Infosim UK, and he will guide you through the presentation and through our webinar today. Before I hand over to Dave, I just wanted today's audience to know that all of you are automatically muted, just to keep down the background noise. So in order for us to answer and actually see your questions, you will have to type them in the questions window at the bottom of the GoToMeeting application. Dave will be answering all questions right after the presentation in our Q&A session. Also, please take note that this event is being recorded and all registrants will be notified via email tomorrow on how to access that recording. Well, now I'd like to go ahead and turn things over to our presenter, Dave. Dave, are you ready?
Yes, thank you very much for that introduction, Dietmar, and good day to everyone who's joined the call. What we're going to discuss in this presentation is the benefits of implementing cost-effective Next-Hop performance, or NHP. Before we go into the presentation, just a few things about Infosim. So Infosim is a leading manufacturer of automated service fulfillment and service assurance solutions for telco, system integrators, managed service providers, and enterprise corporations. Infosim has been around since 2003 and is the recognized leader in unified management solutions for fault performance and configuration management. And we have offices privately held, Infosim is privately held, and we have offices in Germany, headquarters, USA in Austin, Cambridge in the UK, and Singapore. So a little bit about StableNet. StableNet is a third-generation unified management tool with 3 integrated technologies that focus on configuration, fault, and performance management. In terms of global customers that Infosim have within market sectors, in the telco sector, we have quite a large range of telcos and some rather large telcos that run our telco products, but also our enterprise products as well for managed service type customers. We have great customers within our retail and transport section, of our systems integrators, our banking and insurance sector, and public sector, where we're recognized as providing very good secure environment monitoring. So we'll just take a look here at the StableNet interconnectivity architecture map, just to give you an idea of the architecture that StableNet is made up of. At the instrumentation layer, we have what are known as agents. It's basically a software that is located on a piece of server hardware, and I'll be talking a bit more about that in due course. Agents can work on either Windows or Linux operating system, and they can be deployed in high availability mode for redundancy and resilience. And of course, we have the cost-effective agents, which I'll be talking about shortly as well. From the agent itself, they can be deployed either locally, remotely, and generally deployed in a hybrid way. And again, I'll explain that in a bit further detail as we move through the presentation. Communication path between the agent and the middleware or processing layer is a single TCP 5100 communication path, and that's up to the middleware where the functional capabilities of configuration, fault, and performance reside. Within the middleware layer, the middleware can also be deployed in a high availability mode and in a geographical dispersed way for additional resilience and redundancy. Backend database is typically Oracle for large high availability networks, and for smaller type enterprise and smaller installations, MySQL. Authentication, we support TACAX, Radius, LDAP for user authentication, but also for authentication from our configuration management aspect of logging onto devices in order to capture things like configuration, governance, and for policy management, etc. And we also have the access to the middleware system via the GUI, which is more of an administration access, and web services for dashboards and analytics and reports. Service reporting. StableNet is exceptionally adaptable, and at the adapter layer we have a range of different APIs that we can connect into other systems for seamless integration with things like trouble ticket systems like BMC Remedy or Cherwell, etc., CRM systems, business to business, and indeed inventory systems. If you've got a confederation CMDB or even a federated CMDB, we can feed dynamic information from our asset management register into those kind of areas. Okay, so we're going to move on a bit now in respect to the agents, and let's just move over to here and look at the agent's use. Okay, an agent in StableNet terms is essentially a collection or a repository point for data received from devices being monitored within the network infrastructure. And a tool for actioning scheduled jobs or tasks that perform specific functions throughout the infrastructure landscape. You know, StableNet agents are vendor agnostic and therefore support a wide-ranging mix of vendors and model types. So from a collection narrative, we support things like SNMP v1, v2c, v3, flow management for NetFlow version 5 to 9, SFlow, IPFix, HOWI, NQA, and logging management for system login, event alarm, alerts, etc. We have an action and automation piece of functionality that also resides on the agent around access. So for our configuration management, working in conjunction with authentication systems like TACAX, we can do Telnet or SSH Telnet more typically, HTTPS, HTTP, access into device types with a range of authentication, and the action and automation would be around things like configuration backup, automatically going to backup configuration on a scheduled basis, or when a change has occurred or an update. So you can then do config diffs, etc., to look at that kind of stuff. And then we've got the governance and policy management, which is really around writing your design rules or policies around the network configuration, and then applying compliancy and policing that across there, so maintaining greater service level of high availabilities. Lastly, we have media scripts and simulation, and these are around where you can do agent-to-agent measurement and simulation for availability or usage, delay, drops, errors, etc. More importantly, VoIP and simulation calls around VoIP, where you can start to do VoIP calls between agents, so you can test your real-time QoS, etc. These are all really adaptable scripts that you can run and simulate, and with the new sort of lightweight agents that we're talking about in this presentation, makes for compelling types of solutions. So in terms of cost-effective agents, Infosim have recently announced the introduction of its agent technology for the use on lightweight server technology, where the agent software itself has been adapted to perform smaller, meaningful tasks or more effective, or more cost-effective hardware components, like, for instance, the Raspberry Pi, and also the Utilite hardware. For customers, for our customers anyway, in particular, they are really excited about these products, as it opens a completely different agenda when finding solutions for more in-depth, obscure monitoring requirements. And this phase of the presentation will now start to look at the types of solutions that can now be adopted as part of the introduction of this latest technology. So if we take telco, for instance, so Telco Solutions, you could look at the architecture of your MPLS network and strategically place agents to perform key measurements within your MPLS network, creating greater hop-to-hop performance metrics for your network operations or security operation teams, and as an example, potentially create upsell in-cloud visibility to your customers around the MPLS performance or across their VRFs as a differentiator to your managed service customers. So there are a number of different types of benefits from deploying this, and it's really cost effective because we're talking a few £100 as opposed to a few £1,000 for deployment of this. Keeping with Telco Solutions, a lot of telcos deploy a wires-only service to MSPs and service system integrators, whereby the CPE or the CE router is owned by the managed service provider or the systems integrator, and the telco is just providing the wires. In most cases of this deployment, the PE to CE communication is lost from the telco end because the NTEs are not intelligent typically to be able to monitor and do performance metrics. But with the new types of NTE devices that are available, you can just plug one of these lightweight agents in with the NTE box and actually then start to perform agent-to-agent media scripts for things like performance, round-trip delay, end-to-end availability between the PE and the CE, etc. So you can start to look to differentiate again the service types on this wires-only service and create additional value-add upsell opportunities, which I'm sure would be I'm positive it would be really good for these types of customers. Okay, enterprise solutions. For enterprise customers that want to extend their reach of the monitoring capability, the flexibility and cost effectiveness of these agents will now enable you to deploy and measure next hop performance between secured layers of infrastructure within your hosting or data center environment. Perform media scripts, agent-to-agent monitoring for the host LAN within the data center to specific global locations, user LANs or VLANs, where delay, round-trip time, IP SLA monitoring will provide greater visibility of the real-time infrastructure performance and experience of your customers. Outsourced solutions. Now, a lot of customers have outsourced their network or data center operations to third-party providers, managed service providers, etc. And they want a single pane of glass or view of the performance of the network that's being operated by their chosen providers. And this technology allows them and enables them to those companies to deploy this lightweight, cost-effective agent technology and strategically place the agents throughout their network to perform specific monitoring tasks between agents that will provide them with the performance and experience dashboards and reporting. So this can be deployed and run independently of any existing management systems that your outsourced partners are running, and without any need for your partners to provide you any feeds whatsoever in respect to actual management fees like SNMP read-only. So you wouldn't need any of that. So this is a good way of being able to monitor the effectiveness of your network without the need to get your third parties involved. Moving on to VoIP and video solutions. The use of cost-effective agents for VoIP and video deployment is extremely effective for firstly performing next hop monitoring of delay, packet loss, etc. between strategic hops, or end-to-end performance monitoring of round-trip time, jitter, packet loss, R-factor, MOS, QoS, IPSLA, etc., so as to gain service experience visualization of the VoIP performance across your enterprise. The other cool thing is that you can use this agent technology for real-time simulation of VoIP traffic. So as to so as a scenario, you've made a number of out-of-hours changes to your cause policies, and you now wish to test them so as to ensure the traffic is being marked correctly. Well, you simply execute your VoIP call traffic simulation job and visualize the packets being marked via your cause policies that you've just changed. That provides you with the peace of mind that your changes are not going to affect business day operation. So these kind of advantages and benefits are really being realized by our customers to really maintain high levels of service availability and get a real good grip around change control. E-commerce and web app solutions. For e-commerce or web application type services, deployment of StableNet cost-effective agent technology can now provide you with a much greater service performance insight of the user experience at a fraction of the cost in the deployment of a high-end application transaction experience solution. You know, so if you were deploying something like CompuWare or that, you're talking millions of pounds. As an entry level, you could literally just place these low-cost agents to do URL responses and availability, or measure HTTP, HTTPS, IPSLA media scripts between agents within the hosting environment of your web or e-commerce solutions, or between the layers of your front end and your back end services within the data center itself. So you're getting the kind of performance metrics and being able to report on the experience that the infrastructure is performing. Agents can be deployed at remote locations, accessing your internal and external web services. So if you've got your e-commerce system and customers coming via the internet, you could potentially deploy agent technology remotely in certain places where you can measure that performance. So you get the experience of all the internet use of your e-commerce system or your web applications, and internally providing that kind of performance measurements through the distribution of the low-cost agent. And it's essentially providing you a consistent measure of the performance end-to-end. So we have to take a look here of secure solutions. So one of StableNet's advantages for many years has been the ability to provision agents within remote areas where performance or fault and configuration management of DMZs can be appropriately managed without the need for opening up the management ports required within the firewall, exposing customers to unnecessary risk. So one of the things when I started this presentation around the architecture was that I said that agents are deployed typically in a hybrid way. And this is where I mean, where if you were monitoring a typical enterprise network, there would be secured areas of that network where those customers' business protection would not allow you to punch the holes through the firewall in order to manage the DMZs effectively, because of the risks that imposes. Therefore, typically non-secured areas would come back to central agents, and you would deploy remote agents to do within the DMZs itself in order to do all of that performance fault and configuration. Now, with these lightweight agents, you can deploy, it's cost effective now to deploy a lightweight agent per DMZ. And all you actually need is that communication path of just a single port, TCP 5100 port, open between the firewall of the DMZ and the dirty side, if you like, of the network. And there's an option on top of that for that to be encrypted, so that communication path can be encrypted. So with Infosim and the StableNet agent technology, we do cover a lot of bases around the security aspect of our solutions. also from a firewall configuration point of view, just nailing up the source and destination IP addressing together with that optional encryption makes for truly secure monitoring of those areas. Okay, moving through this at a rate of knots, so pretty good. M2M Solutions, it's one of our last slides now. Machine to machine is an area of exponential growth for telco, enterprise service providers and enterprise customers. The StableNet's agent technology allows now for cost-effective agents to be deployed within these areas of a customer's business to realize greater visualization of the business operation. So, as an example, if we were to take a look at the retail market sector, and in particular, let's take a look at food, supermarket type businesses, we can now start to extend StableNet's capability further by monitoring and measuring the performance of smart devices in store, distribution areas, etc. For example, things like smart sensors for temperature control or air quality, IP refrigeration, smart SCADA entry systems, EPOS systems, CCTV, smoke motion detection, etc. All of this is now becoming possible to monitor, which allows for the ability to create dashboards and portals for store distribution and exact management to visualize the ability and performance of their operation. So in the store, the store manager could have an iPad or access to a portal whereby he can look at the availability and the operation of all of the key things that are happening in his store to ensure greater customer satisfaction and experience. So these are all coming to fruition, and StableNet is, and with this lightweight agent, is in a great position to provide and let our customers create. So before I hand back to Dietmar for any questions, I just want to say that these are just some of the solution types that are now possible with the use of the lightweight agent technology, and are all valuable additions to the investment you make when procuring StableNet. The product's flexibility and functional enrichment capability enhances our customers' creativeness in solution development and value-add products. It's a StableNet advantage. I'm just going to hand you back to Dietmar. Any questions?
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Dave, for that excellent presentation. We've had a number of questions during the presentation. We were pretty much able to attend to most of them directly, but I've picked out two of those, which I think other attendees might benefit from the answers. There was actually two people asked that. How many measurements can you execute simultaneously on one of those lightweight agents?
Well, that's a good question. Obviously, they're lightweight, so you can't do what you do on a much sort of heavyweight agent. But what you can do is you can schedule tasks to run at certain times. So you can run a number of tasks, but not all at the same time. But so for sure, we've had instances where you're running 2, 3 different tasks at the same time on some of these agents. The Utilite box is slightly more powerful than the Raspberry Pi, but obviously these things are changing all the time. Newer technology, newer hardware, and so I fully expect that to get even more powerful as we move on.
All right, I think that pretty much sums up the question. There is actually another question that I've picked from the questions we received from our audience, and that is somewhat a question that is almost in conjunction with the first one. Is there like a limit to the amount of lightweight agents you can deploy in your scenario? Is there like a hard limit?
Well, short answer is no, there isn't. We have customers that have tens of thousands of agents deployed. So there is no limit to the amount of agents you can have. As I say, it's that's the flexibility of StableNet. It's really adaptable and allows you to grow on a single platform.
All right. Well, that answered that question, I'm pretty sure. Just another hint to our audience, the presentation slides from this webinar are of course available, so if you would like a copy, just send a quick mail to myself, kneidl@infosim.net. I will add the email address to the chat. In fact, that's what I just did. And there's also, thank you for changing the slide, Dave. There's also a number of resources we have available for you at our website. And there's just a quick overview. If you visit us at www.infosim.net, I'm sure you'll find the resources you need. And we also have a solution brief on that topic, a solution brief on next top performance. That is available at the specific landing page, www.infosim.net/NHP for Next Hub Performance. So you are able to download that solution brief from that website directly. Well, again, just an overview of our addresses and contact ways of contacting us. So again, thank you very much, Dave, for your presentation, and I'd like to thank everybody again for joining our session today. I've mentioned it earlier, a recording of this webinar will be made available to all of you tomorrow via email. And also, if you have any additional questions, just feel free to contact Dave, myself, or any other member of the sales staff with Infosim at any time. We will leave this session open for a couple of more minutes, so if you have any questions that you would like to ask directly, all of your questions will be answered. So we'll just leave this session open for a couple of more minutes. Again, thanks for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.